Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Good evening, Giannis. ¿Cómo está usted? Woo! What a day. What a great trading day. So many opportunities. The world is falling apart at the seams. And our customers are kicking butt and taking names. Hello. Tim says, Michael, I'm up 100 points today. Tim, I'm going to share that so people can see you're a real person. Real customers, real results. It is such a great time to have our software. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Michael. I am the founder, co-partner. Oh, hell, I do most of the crazy stuff around here that you actually see. Jay Howard, just to see you. Good to see you. Last time I spoke to Brian, he said you were going to be signing up. I had earned your trust by acknowledging the issue last week. This week, I figured it all out. We've got it all dialed in. It was a NinjaTrader cache error. And so now that I know that, I can empty that out before we start every day. Where are we at today? Let me get that loaded up. Forgive me, I just finished customer consult. 301, 301. Okay, perfect. Whew. We are here today to keep things short and sweet. Giannis, I'll make sure he gets back to you. I asked him to actually touch base with you on the force stuff you asked about. So he's actually going to reply to you during this webinar to make sure you get his emails, all right? And then CC me on those to make sure it doesn't go to his spam. We are the only company in the known universe that is perpetrating the wonderful news, the gospel of predictive signals. We prove our software works by giving out the times and directions in advance, giving you a basic trading system to follow, and then adding up the results after the fact. So the craziness of that, Sheila, Paul, Chris, is we give you everything up front, and then the responsibility sort of falls on you to believe it or not believe it. And ultimately, the question posed today is simply this. Is trading about the past or the future? Michael, I use Bookmap, I use volume spread analysis, I use market profile, I use, and 95% of the time, the thing people are coming to me and telling me that they use, it's a lagging system. Inherently, at its core, its base DNA, the thing most people are watching already happened. It's in the past. Well, I just saw 1,400 contracts come through. It's in the past. Well, this high has less momentum than the prior high. It's still in the past. My position, I believe I can fly. I believe banks rig markets. And people disagree with me on that. That's fine. I believe banks rig markets to break people, to break your account, to prevent you from achieving your goals. And I specifically go out of my way every week to provide the proof in advance. Earlier this week, if you joined our mailing list, if you took our video demo and you gave us permission to send you emails, we gave you an invitation to study the historical behavioral turning point times with us for the E-mini S&P, crude futures, gold futures, the DAX, euro currency, the Dow, the 1-minute NASDAQ, the euro US dollar, the pound dollar, Ethereum. And those times presented to you in a report were alerts. Our program, Tacheon Warp. We're nerds here. We love nerd culture. I've seen every sci-fi movie, read the comic books. Anytime there's news about a DeLorean, can't talk to anybody, gonna read it. And most of our software is named after stuff, tachyon being a combination of the word tachyon with a Y, a theoretical particle that can travel backwards and forwards in time, and the word eon, meaning infinite amounts of time. Our software can travel backwards and forwards in time to find historically recurring behavioral times where banks are performing shenanigans, pushing markets higher or lower. And when we dial into the belief that banks are performing shenanigans and we look for the times that they're doing it, a well-trained program like Warp can not only find them, but project them forwards into the future. So Eunice, if, for example, the Ethereum market was rising 10 a.m. for the last 14 days in a row at 10 o'clock like clockwork. Boop, 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 boop. Everyone would realize this. Everyone would buy it at 9.59 and hold it. Of course, it's not that simple. Yeah, Brian, so sorry. I'm out of sorts. Where are you, Couscous? I don't see you. There you are. No, there you are. Stand by, everybody. Brian, check out Giannis's question. And so it's not that simple. It's more subtle. And what our software is designed to do, over 12,000 lines of code, it's designed to go through your market on the time frame you're watching, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 week, daily charts, Apple, Google, Ethereum, Euro, US dollar, NASDAQ, gold, oil futures, heating oil, palladium, whatever you're watching. This software finds the times that the banks and their crooked algos are pushing prices higher and lower lately. NASDAQ 1 minute chart. We gave this out 2 days ago on a Tuesday. And all of the times that you see on the top of the zero line represented times we were expecting pushes down. Imagine somebody pushing your head underwater trying to drown you. All of these times on the bottom of the chart are times that we were expecting pushes to the upside. So when we come back and we look today and compare what happened on the actual signal to what happened today. Let me see, where is it? 1501. Can you guys see here where it says 242 and 1501? Jay Howard, Joe, I think it is. The times match this week. I'll draw right here, 242, 301. Everything's synced up. The times that are on this chart, 327, all these times match up with what I told you to look for 2 days ago. So when we come back and look at the chart, and we go back and we look and see what happened today, Joe Parks, can you see what happened in your NASDAQ market this morning? Somebody explain to me what's going on here. Right, as we scroll over, let me pull this up and push it over to the side. You'll see 912, 925, 941, 955, 941, 955. Well, he told you he was going to buy when you got back from vacation, right? Or on Tuesday or something like that. Yeah, that drives me up a wall. That makes me crazy. Anyway, Joe, you told Brian you'd get started Tuesday of this week. I generally take people at their word. But if we review what happened at the times that I told 18,000 people to watch for moves today, I want you to see the opportunity cost of not having the software. So the first signal after the open, Joe, at 9:41, the candle closed just below the moving average. The software warned us. Man, that drives me crazy. The software warned us to go short from 941 to 955 if the signal was in the direction of the trend. First signal after the open, right? Let's draw the open right here, 930, boom. The software told us to look for buying pressure on the NASDAQ. NASCrack, if you're familiar with the phrase. Look for buying pressure from 925 to 941. And then look for selling pressure from 941 until when, boys and girls? 955. Where did we get this information from? From a chart that we sent you on Tuesday afternoon. It's Thursday. There are the times, the correct times. And on this chart, this is what happened at those times. And ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. You're being screwed daily in the market by banks. Look at what the software told you would happen. And look at what happened right up to lunchtime today. And it's frustrating because week after week, people come and they sit in this webinar and they say, yeah, I don't know. It's a 100-point move. What's 100 times 20? Anyone have a calculator? That's a $2,000 move. Edwin, what was the short before that? Short from 912 to 925. That's a $20 move. What's the short from 826 to 850? That's a $53 move. What's the short from 1016 to 1026? That's a $57 move. So let's go ahead and pretend that I'm the crazy one. That's a $1,000 move. That's a $2,000 move. This is a $400 move. This is a $1,000 move. This one here is more like a $200 move. I sit here week after week and I try to convince I don't know what else to show you. In the afternoon when the bloodbath hit, geez, where would we have known to go short? From 104 to 111, from 135 to 138. Here's a stop out. Uh-oh. From 203 to 215, from 241 to 223, from 242 to 246, from 301 to 304, from 327 it goes down. $500 gets me to break even, doesn't hit the stop. I'm already at break even, so I'm going to count that as 0. What is going on? Every week I show the same parameters. Every week. I haven't changed my settings since Warp came out. Swing strength of 8, calendar days 714. Well, surely there are other markets and time frames that we can look at. For example, did you know that you can analyze higher time frames with this? Here's the E-mini S&P on a 60-minute chart. E-mini S&P on a 60-minute chart. What's different about our software? We don't lie to ourselves. I never lie to you. Last week, Joe and others realized something was wrong. The signals weren't matching up. My NinjaTrader was corrupted. I had to clear my cache. And then I sent out the correct signals, which lined up and worked beautifully. I hate liars. My dad said, if you never lie, you never have to remember what you said. And now, BG, when you're a customer, I'll explain all that to you. Right now, when you look at the ES 60-minute chart, our software does something that nothing you have does. Oh, calendar days refers to no Saturdays or Sundays in the calculation, no weekends. When you look at this, we have what was expected to happen on the left-hand side of the chart, and on the right-hand side of the chart, what is expected to happen. Now, how is that different from everything else every one of you who don't have the software own? Well, I know some of you, you send me your screenshots and say, Michael, look at what I'm looking at. Here's what I look at. And not one of you who don't have our software can tell me in the future. Joe, you asked me to send you 1 hour screenshots, and here we are weeks later with the same chart I sent you. And it's doing everything in advance. Down at 4 o'clock, up at 11 o'clock, down at 10 o'clock, up at 4 o'clock, down at 3 a.m. since last night, 3 a.m. And look, where's the first place we expect buying pressure? 10 o'clock. And look, there's a push up, there's a push up, there's a push up. They're holding on at 10 o'clock. And if we want to get more resolution than that, we can use the technique I teach every week. And there's the next drop down. So Joe, it's still working and you're still standing on the outside looking in at the glass, wondering if the croissants are as tasty as they smell from outside the door. We can go out and look at higher time frames. We gave out the forecasts for SPY. Some of you were SPY options traders and you say, Michael, I trade SPY on options. Can you look at that? And last week, I told you February 4th, we're looking for downward pressure until March 3rd. Here's our window right here. Downward pressure on SPY. And the software warned us and they said, listen, the banks are going to screw you again. They're going to start pushing down on February 4th. And they're not going to stop until they get to March 3rd. And it's working. It's happening on longer time frames, right? It's happening on Ford that we watch every week on a daily chart. What was expected versus what's actually happening on the left-hand side of the dotted line. When's the next put opportunity in Ford? Right here, February 23rd. February 23rd. Where were the call opportunities? October 7th, December 3rd. And right here, we're below the moving average. It's risky. You're kind of like right where you started. And there was a call opportunity when it punctured that blue line, a signal I taught you last week called a puncture. So in equities, in futures, it's working. Those of you that trade cryptocurrency, we put the times out for Ethereum. Does this look like a market that was random to you? Where could I have sold Ethereum? You could have sold it 11:35 last night, 3:15 Eastern last night, 5:30 last night, 6:40 for a loss. You could have sold it 8:30 this morning until 9:05. You could have sold it 10:45 until 11:45, broken even. And then you could have sold Ethereum from 12:30 to 1:15 and 1:50 to 3:50. Well, where would I have gotten those times, Michael? You show me after the fact. That's not helpful. No, that wouldn't be helpful, except for the fact that I gave you those times on Tuesday, those directions on Tuesday. There it is. And still, people come to these webinars every week. I'm going to buy on Tuesday. I'm going to buy on Friday.
My grandmother's birthday is Saturday. We're going on a Carnival cruise ship. We'll be back on Monday. And you come and you stare through the glass and you say, maybe next week. There's so much money left to lose. I'm going to lose a lot more money before I realize what was happening. We can go out and look at different markets. We can watch the Euro US dollar, for example. We can blow this up. Euro US dollar was a nightmare today, super chop. But as we go up from a 5-minute to like a 60-minute chart, you can see those signals start to stabilize. Let me make sure I have the right settings here. 8 on the swing. And on a 60-minute chart for the Euro US dollar, you can start to see that these guys are following a plan. And if I eke it forward into the future, I can see the times that are coming up on the Euro US dollar. So it works on forex, it works on futures, it works on the NASDAQ. How about commodities? Right? All the energy prices. Does this look like a random market to you? Right? We had crude futures on a 3-minute chart. We also had crude futures all the way down to a 1-minute chart in the forecasts that were published this week. Let's take a look and see what was expected versus what actually happened today in energy prices. Because Michael, Ukraine and Russia, Mike, this should blow your noggin. Using our trend entry system long from 7:46 to 8 o'clock. Using our puncture system long from the puncture of the blue line until 8:17. Counter trend signal 8:25 until 8:37. 8:37, Brian, that's a signal with trend. $160, $740, $53. Here comes a stop out. Watch out. Minus $280. Candle closes below the moving average and then it punctures the blue line. Puncture signal until 9:14, 53 ticks. Short from 9:14 until when? 9:19. Hey, Joe, look. Number one, the signals match because I checked before you got here. What happened, everybody, at 9:19 in crude futures? Ukraine, Crimean Peninsula, Russia. Thanks, Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. What happened at 9:19, 2 days after I gave everybody the signals? They had a plan. And I want you to look very closely at what these guys do and why you should maybe listen this week. I'm a little aggressive, right? Who can tell me what happened here at 9:19? Anybody? Dean, Daniel, Chris, Charles. What did the banks do to people that were trading crude futures? That's a stop run. I will tell you right now, thousands of people lost their accounts right there. Hundreds of people were praying to Jesus, Allah, Chewbacca, a Kwanzaa tree, any deity that would listen. Please let me get out, break even. If you watch Talladega Nights, you might have even prayed to Oprah's God. If you remember that line from the movie, you're awesome. And what happened? It just kept going up. Well, how long was it supposed to go up for? 12,000 lines of code were whispering in your ear, Joe, 9:45. And it went higher, and it went higher, and no God answered anyone's prayers. And when was it supposed to stop? At 9:45. And by then, the bleeding was over. Look at it. I don't know what else to show you to convince you this is real. Because we're moving forward into the future. We already have the signals for tomorrow, for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday. Hi, Carrie. Long time no see, old friend. So I have the times already for Friday. I have the times all the way through next Thursday. Now, I have them now. You can have them now. They already exist. I used your example the other day, the shearing the sheep example. Here's what's happening on gold on a daily time frame. I warned you last week. I said, hey, everybody, we saw the stop run right here. There it is again. And they dropped it down from January 24th until this stop run right here. And more people lost their money. More people got thrown out of their trading combine. More people had to explain to Billy that he's got to go to community college next year. More people called us and said, I almost bought your software, but I had a really bad trading day today. I have to put it on the back burner and reevaluate things. Every week, it's the same calls. Humans are predisposed to self-sabotage. I've seen that now more times in the last, I don't know how many years. We are self-sabotage engines, and banks cash in on it every day. Every day. Well, where might it go by February 28th? I got a pretty good idea, Carrie. Where might they take it? Right there. And everyone's going to be convinced. We're going even higher. We're going to 2,000 right before this day. And there'll be more screams. There'll be more margin calls. There'll be more prayers to Allah and the Kwanzaa tree, to Zeus, Jesus, Muhammad. Everyone will be prayed to. And all the stops will be run through. Because no one was paying attention to what the banks were actually doing. No one is ever paying attention. You come here week after week. Some of you, it's a perennial visit. If I had a mascot, it would look like you. And there's this little voice in the back of your head that says, we've been burned so many times. And the thing that's good for you is sitting right in front of you. The answer, the truth, which is simple to explain, is right there. Trading isn't about the past. And I know you love your system, but it's lagging. I know you love your system, but it's in the past. It's already happened. Trading is about what is likely to happen next. And here's the thing. Banks aren't even trying hard. They're not hiding it. I could take any chart. I could pull the times off of any of these charts. I could pull the signals off. And I can look here with you. And I can sit here tonight and say, okay, 806, And I can sit here and go 8.48. And I can sit here and go 9.15. And I can find the low here, 10.30. And I have all these wonderful highs, 12.33, maybe 12.51. And I can see right here on the chart, I can see what they're doing. And I can compare those times to yesterday. And I can come back yesterday and go, all right, 8.36. And I can come here and look, 9.09. And the banks are telling you, they're flaunting, throwing it in your face. And they're telling you when the times to watch are. And I could sit here with a piece of graph paper or a yellow legal pad, and I can go back a couple weeks and figure out which times are the high probability times and project that forward into the future. And I could do that with you. And 95% of you statistically still wouldn't believe it. You still wouldn't believe it. The guy who first came up with this tried to get people to listen to him. He tried to get people to understand that every day that they sat down to place a trade, they were going up against the likes of Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse. And they forget something. These guys don't play fair. They will break the rules over and over and over again. They'll run stops. They'll spoof the market. They'll make it look like orders that were there weren't really there. They have dark pools. They have high frequency algos. And I have news for you. I spoke to a JP Morgan banker. He left and he works for a hedge fund. And he said, Michael, I was in the room when these guys talked to each other. I was in the room when our bank talked to the other banks and had a plan for that day. I said, can I get you to record that? He said, no, they'll recognize my voice. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm still in the industry. I've met people who said this is happening. And yet, week after week, everyone argues with me. Oh, it's impossible. They would never do that. Well, how do they make money? Fed. The Fed gives them billions of dollars. Well, how much are we going to have to pay back? It's free. Oh, well, why would you do that? I used to work for you. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, former employee who controls how much money is printed. Well, what if we break the law? Don't worry about it. Bill from accounting was working in the SEC. No one gets in trouble. Well, okay. And so for the last 130 years, the guy who first figured this out said the following. Mr. William Delbert Gann from Lufkin, Texas, humble man, wrote book after book after book. And he said, listen, time is the most important factor of all. Time. Time is the most important factor in determining market movements. And how do we get these formulas? Study the past records, and you will be able to prove for yourself that history does repeat, and that by knowing the past, know the past, you can tell the future. Well, what did we do this week? We told you in the future, based on what was happening in the past. And so using our software on the E-mini S&P from the Euro session forward, 6:45 until 8 o'clock was a long. That's a $350 move. When the candle closed below the moving average, you entered at the close and you held it until 9:25. That was a $400 move. When the candle punctured the white line, you went short and you held it until 11 o'clock. That was a $900 move. At 11 o'clock, you went short and you got hit your stop right here, and you lost 500 of the 900. You were short from 12:35 until 1:15, which is when people were expected to take profit for another $450. And while Rome burned and you said to yourself, there's no way it can fall any farther, how many of you said that today? All of you, without the software. That's it. The bottom is in. There's no way it's going to go any further than that. That's it. The bottom is in. And when it came back to retest the bottom, 98% of you were buying. And at 135, if you own the software, and on the close of the candle, the software was whispering in your ear, Brian, brother free, now's the time to go short. You've got till 3:20. Hey, how do I know you? I'm the Flux Ward program. I track what the banks do. Filthy bastards. You got a window here. Sneak in there, take some money. All right, when do I get out? That's a lot. Shouldn't I get out now? No, hold it. Keep holding it. Dude, there's a big white bar here. Should I get out? Keep holding it. What about now? Not yet. Not yet. Now. $1,500 move. And week after week, I have to beg some of you to return an email. Week after week, I have to chase you down, call you 15,000 times while you use your system. Your system's really bad. I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you what my Weight Watchers counselor told me the first time I went there. Her name was Chicky. She weighed 98 pounds soaking wet. And Brian, I sat in the Weight Watchers group, which is a really good organization, by the way. And there was a woman in the front row. She was like me. She was a little puffy, or as Gabriel Iglesias would say, she was fluffy. And we were talking about the points values of food. And she said, how many points are carrots? How many points are carrots, Miss Chicky? And Dar, did you try to call me? I've been emailing you all day, Mr. Nelson. Can you tell me what your phone number is so I can call you right after this webinar? Chicky looked at her and she said, sweetheart, you didn't get here because you ate too many carrots. Nobody laughed. Wasn't funny. The woman later confessed she would buy Chips Ahoy cookies and eat an entire sleeve in the parking lot of the supermarket. Most of you are here today because you're eating Chips Ahoy cookies in the theoretical parking lot of your accounts, refusing to admit after 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, how rigged this game is. I can't buy this software, Michael. I bought so much other stuff. That's the devil that I know. You're coupled to a partner in a bad marriage. And I show you week after week the cost of the software in 1 day, 1 day ROI in any one market. And you look at me and go, I'm going to call you when I get back from the weekend. I got to cruise. My uncle's sister's boyfriend. I got to go to the funeral. I wish I could. And you go back to that old system. You go looking in your indicator list, and you compare my times to your stuff, and week after week after week. It's that Elton John song. What do I got to do to make you love me? I already have the times for tomorrow. They're already here. The entire US session for tomorrow is a little bit more scrolling right here. Joe, what are we doing? Why are we waiting? Not sure. I'm tired. Oh, I'm tired. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing and using a timing that the enemy does not expect. You watch your enemy and see what they do. You learn their habits. This software is designed at its core to warn you about your enemy's weakness. Tomorrow you have a choice. Do you wake up and purposefully put a blindfold on? I don't want to know the times. I've got my system. I would rather sit here and wait for an arrow on the screen that disappears and reappears and maybe shows up. I would rather look at support and resistance levels that were relevant a day ago, a week ago, a month ago. I like not knowing. What else would I have to talk about in the forum? How can I complain to Bill at work in accounting how much money I lost at the water cooler? 12,000 lines of code are waiting for you to embrace the fact that 95% of traders tomorrow will wake up and not know and choose to be surprised and will blow their account out. My times match this week, every single one of them. I went through every chart every time and it's perfect. Yeah, I thought that was your number. I saw it come in right before the thing, bro. I'll call you right after, but I'll basically want to get you started, but I've got this, and then I'm going to call you, give you what you want, and get you signed up. So just promise to answer when I call here. It's been a long day. It's been fun trading, but I want you all here to listen because I care. I don't want you to lose. And so we pay about $6,000 a year to be part of the Trustpilot environment. And we started offering customers the ability to leave reviews. So everyone here is an actual customer with an actual receipt. My name is Paul H., and there is my trading journey before the purchase of Warp. I would win some and lose too many. After I purchased the software and learned how to use it with instructions, Ron, and the many educational videos in the members area, I've managed to make more than I purchased the software for. It's an awesome tool to show direction and keep me on the right side of the trade. Before I had this software, I would just buy and sell as per supply and demand level and not have a clear exit point. The software has certainly given me a clearer picture of the market. Please share this with Ron and Michael. Thank you, guys. That's a real customer who sat in the webinar just like you, paid his nickel to play. Every single person on this page is a real customer. Anyone who wanted to leave a bad review, I couldn't delete it if I tried. I have to submit receipts and customer transactions to Trustpilot to prove that person wasn't an actual customer. Not one person here. My first review was a 1-star review and it's still there. All of these people saw the same thing that you saw week after week. And after a year of reviews and people allowed to write whatever they want, 4.8 out of 5. They saw it and they said, I'm not going to lose money anymore. It's not the cost of the software, it's the cost of the trades you're missing. It's the cost of the trade you're not staying in. And if I sound a little gnarly today, it's because I'm tired of watching you hurt yourself. I'm tired of watching people with the excuses that they have. I'm tired of someone saying they're going to buy on a Tuesday and we never hear from them. Like I'm being tested, like there's something I'm hiding. I'm not hiding anything. The guys who are cheating you, the guys who are stealing from you, sit behind big mahogany desks and they're laughing their asses off today. They had a plan. They have a plan for tomorrow. They have a plan for next week. They have a plan for next month. It doesn't matter what you trade, whatever market it is, crypto, forex, equities, currencies, it's all the same. Brian, you want me to throw it over to you to show people how to sign up if they want? I think people are depressed listening to me. They could hear about you. They could hear about your experiences, and you could tell them a little bit about how to get started if you want, the promo codes, what they get.
Sure.
And stuff. Yeah, let me put this link up right here. Hey, Jeffrey. Good to see you, Mr. Siebert. So I want to introduce somebody to you. A lot of times, many of you ask, can I speak to someone who's an actual customer who's using the software? Over a year ago, we met Brian. He had an experience very similar to the reviews that I've been reading to you. And he's done some quite extraordinary things. He's actually a Force customer, a Warp customer. He's seen the alpha signals, he's seen the Aurora signals, and he uses them. So he's sort of proof, can you teach somebody to do this and have them actually use it? So one of those people that might have left the review, he's here to tell you a little bit about his experience. He wants to also show you pictures of his pet monkey. If any of you are thinking about owning a chimpanzee, Brian is actually an excellent resource for that. He used to be the head of PETA, as well as Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. I believe he stole the monkey you're about to see on his desktop from the circus. Oh, no, it's not on the screen.
I am rebuilding my computer, so I'm living without my monkey temporarily, and I miss him terribly.
Pull up the web page so you can kind of walk him through.
All right.
Get started. I'll put the link, by the way, for the software on your page. Brian's going to tell you what's included. There's a bunch of stuff: free installation, free training, video archive access, 2 licenses, lifetime updates for free. So I'll go ahead and paste that link into the chat box. And I do have one favor. If Brian sends you an email to follow up and ask you questions, if you get it and you're not interested, Jeff, just tell him, hey, I don't want it, thanks. But he's probably the best resource you're ever going to have for stuff like this, an actual person trading actual money using the software. So I would encourage you, if you have an opportunity, even as a customer, reach out, ask him some questions if you have any, and connect with him. So Brian, why don't you lead him through on the webpage, show him what's involved with getting started and a little bit about your story. Otherwise, I'm going to go downstairs and drink some chamomile tea. Joe, I hope I get to work with you this week. Dar, I'll give you a call right after, let's say about 15, 20 minutes from now. We'll get you sorted. Welcome on board, new customers. And to those of you that have supported us over the years, much gratitude and respect. Thank you for your reviews. Thank you for your feedback. Thanks for sharing your success with us. 100 points today for one customer alone. We appreciate you and look forward to continuing to serve you. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so I'll just tell you guys, my name is Brian. I am in that review link, the Trustpilot that Michael shared earlier. I've gone through what you're going through now. We do have many customers, by the way, that join us every week on this webinar. And you might think that's a little odd, but the reason why myself and so many of our existing customers that have had this Warp software for years come every week, Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock, is because we have tremendous gratitude. We all have gone through probably a similar experience as to what maybe you've gone through if you're joining us recently here as somebody new to Back to the Future trading and to the software Warp. Like me, traded on and off for many, many years. I would say I know I spent tens of thousands of dollars in training and in software and in tools. And it all got me to the same place, nowhere. And when I got an email from a Michael Leidick talking about forward-looking in the future time prediction signals of buying and selling times, I was like, I got to check out this webinar. It's going to be good for a few laughs. I mean, that was my attitude coming into this. And now here I am offering to give you as much of my personal time as you would ask for, because it was a life-changing experience. And I think that's why maybe Michael and even I sometimes scratch our heads of, these people see it, like, why aren't they acting on it? So I do know that there's a lot of psychology in this. There's a lot of baggage that we bring along with us from all the traumatic experiences we have trying to find success trading. And I totally get it. And I'm completely sympathetic to it. So if you want to talk to somebody that has gone through what you're considering, and to be straight up with you, I have nothing to gain. I can guarantee you my life will not change one way or the other, whether you decide to move forward with this or not. My motivation is that I think this is something that changed my life. I do want to do other things as far as other than making money and being a good consumer. I do want to help other people. And if you would like my assistance and my help, I'd be happy to provide it. And if not, that's cool too. So I told Michael, I promised Michael that I would reach out to every person that attends this webinar and does not own the Warp software and offer my help. And if you don't want it, that's totally cool. Just let me know you got the email and that you're good for now and that you appreciate it, and then maybe some other time. That's totally cool. If you do want to engage with me, I also just put in the chat box my contact info. I have it here up on my screen. Michael has given me an email address to use for Back to the Future Trading related communication, and it's simply brian@backtothefuturetrading.com. I live in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, the New York time zone, and if I am available, I will answer your call. My number is 802-427-4123. And I'm actually going to hold off on, I'm going to try something a little different this week. I'm going to hold off on showing you exactly where on the website you could buy the Warp software and how much it costs and the promo code. And Michael, please forgive me if you ever see this recording and be like, Brian, why didn't you give them the information? Because I want you to talk to me first. Honestly, I want you to talk to me first before you make that commitment. And I will then give you all the information that you need. So I'm gonna try it a little differently, because many times I go through the joining in here at the end and give the information of the website and the promo code, and then Michael's like, yeah, we didn't see anybody buy there. So I'm going to try something a little different. If you want to have that additional confirmation and maybe look into the crystal ball into the future, what your life might be looking like if you do this, and if you pull the trigger and yes, it is another software package like we all have bought in the past, but this is different. It's the real deal. We have many existing customers here. If I turned on their mic, they would tell you the same thing. So I'm gonna keep it simple and short tonight and just leave it at that. You got my information. If you're considering buying the software, contact me. Call me right now. I'm gonna wrap up the webinar here soon, and you could call me and I will guarantee you I'll get back to you this evening. So Brother Free, Jeffrey, he is asking, what size account do you recommend to start trading this software? Not micros. I mostly trade and lose on the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell Equity Index futures contracts. I'm glad you asked that because I do have an opinion about that. From as banged up as I was being a failed trader coming into this, I thought maybe I shouldn't be risking even more of my capital. And I lost plenty, guys. I lost plenty. So I actually pursued the avenue of using what the slang term is prop firms or proprietary trading firms. And essentially it's a model, if you're not familiar with it, where you pay a small monthly fee and you go through an evaluation phase with these companies. And if you pass all their stringent rules, they fund you and you trade their money. And the only thing you have at risk is the monthly fee that you pay during the evaluation. And most firms I have experienced ask you to pay a small monthly fee even during the funding period. And to me, that makes a whole lot more sense of risking $150 a month during the evaluation and $80 a month during the funding period than to risking your own capital. So Jeffrey, I'd be happy to discuss that with you. And that way you don't need to risk any size account. You could go through proof of concept without really risking the $5,000 or $10,000 you feel would be the minimum account size that you would be needing to trade a full mini contract and not micros. So a little different approach this week, guys, but hey, let's see if that resonates with you guys. Jim, existing customers, non-customers, people who've never looked at a chart, anyone can call me. Wide open invitation. At the end of my life, I want to look back and be able to say to myself that I've done more than just make some money and then spend it. I really have a motivation to help other people that have gone through the trials that I have with trading. And I can't solve all your life problems, but I do think that a lot of life issues can be solved if we get to a solid financial foundation. And I know for a fact, and believe me, I am not any smarter than the average bear. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So yeah, Jim, existing customers, I openly invite you to reach out to me, call me, email me. I'm more than happy to help. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight, guys. That's all I'm going to say. I don't see any other questions. You have my contact info. If you're considering taking this step, call me. I'll talk to you on the phone. We'll set up a screen share. If you're not confident that this stuff really works, we could take a look at the charts and I can pull up what you trade. If you've gone absolutely broke from trading, which I would not judge against you because I basically was there myself, and you can't afford the software, I will help you any way I can, okay? So one last question here before I wrap it up. It's a use question, and it's a great question. So as you saw, Michael gives out the predictions on Tuesdays for the Wednesday and Thursday markets. And you could actually watch those signals, and the only filter that Michael is using in the demonstration is an EMA, an exponential moving average, and it's a 120 EMA that he has. So you could pull up a chart of whatever you're following with the prediction. You could throw out a 120 EMA on your chart, and you could just take what we call the signal with trends. So when the software prediction is saying this was the buying time on your NASDAQ 3-minute chart, if you were above that EMA, you're a buyer. We're following the price action. We're using that EMA as a trend filter. If our price action is above that EMA, it gives us permission to buy. And you could watch the signal live and say, okay, I would buy here, or run it on your simulator. And then wait until you see the prediction of the selling signal, which is our time to get out of the trade, to exit the trade. And it's as simple as that. So you really can use the provided predictions that Michael has given us, and you could actually test it yourself in real time. And you could make arrangements to do a screen share with me. So again, Brian, 802-427-4123, Brian at backtofuturetrading.com. Existing customers, hey guys, always great to be here on the webinar with you. People that are checking this out, thanks for coming out. Thanks for your time, and let me know if I can help. Have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.